Hi. We're in the finished mystery. We're just finishing verse 20 of 3.
After 3
Revelation
pages.
3, yeah. With the Lord standing at the door. Now he's going to knock. That's where we're at.
So we're going to read the rest because they spend the rest of this chapter, 1 page and a third, explaining these 3 verses now in their totality. Mm-hmm. It says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and eat with him, and he with me. The one who conquers, I will grant him to sit with me on my throne, as I also conquered and sat down with my Father on his throne. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches." And we shouldn't forget that all of these letters, all 7 of them, have that particular idea that Christ is speaking to the churches, and the Spirit is speaking to the churches. And you don't really notice that, and here it's not much underlined. The Spirit is speaking to the churches. And what is the Spirit saying to the churches? Well, you believe you're the 7th church, so you believe this is about you. So we won't read all of the applications they make in the next page and a third, because a lot of them are just scrapped, totally scrapped now, and were fairly innocuous then, having to do with your personal relationship with God and how this message you now bear proves this. For instance, the first paragraph here, where they actually get to the word knock, tells you what they think all of this is about.
The knock, or proclamation of the Lord's presence, as indicated by the Old Testament prophecies, has been given since 1875 and is still being given. "If any man hear my voice," the knock is to be the evidence of the presence, and the servants are not to know in advance, but are to know at the time of the arrival, that without seeing.
So they are making the knock, the proclamation of this invisible presence from the date 1874. So what Christ is doing, they are saying, is now knocking, and we are the proclaimers of what he is doing. Yeah. Now you know, if you're a current Jehovah's Witness, that all of this is scrapped.
Yeah.
So the message is wrong, but you've blamed the Messiah for this. He's the one you say is doing the knocking. We are just telling you what's going on. Yeah. And at the bottom, they have another phrase that I think is very significant.
"And I will sup with him," is the text of Revelation. "The Master himself is feasting on the same joys of the Father's plan that delight our own hearts." The Father's plan.
So that reminds me of the phrase they use elsewhere, God's dates, not ours.
Yeah.
This is the Father's plan that we're telling you about, and we're the only people that know. Don't forget the very first book of Russell's Studies in the Scriptures was entitled The Divine Plan of the Ages. Mm-hmm. This is Jehovah's plan, according to the way you think of the Father is Jehovah. So Jehovah's plan and Jesus knocking, this is all now what we are proclaiming.
Yeah, and the supping, it's like food at the proper time kind of idea is being tied in here. So they're eating, it says they're feasting on the same joys of the Father's plan, which they think is the volumes of the studies in the Scriptures.
They have the Master with capital M, that's Jesus. The Master himself, capital H, is feasting on the same joys of the Father's plan. So he's enjoying this plan too.
But we're not enjoying it anymore. We don't even want to tell you about it.
No, it's just, scraps, isn't it? It's stuff you're ashamed of now. So ashamed that you don't even republish it and don't want it in your Kingdom Hall libraries.
Yeah.
So by the time you get to the end of the chapter, they're dealing with that last verse. What the Spirit is saying to the churches. But what's the Spirit saying to the churches? And what churches?
So from verse 22, "He that hath an ear, blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Let him hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them." We have all the truth. Yeah. Nobody else does. "What the Spirit saith unto the churches, unto the 7 epochs, ending respectively in AD 73, 325, 1160, 1378, 1518, 1874, and 1918.
So do they believe any of this anymore?
No.
So what are the 7 churches? They're 7 epochs. Now they're getting to the end of that, of course, right here at the end of chapter 3. We enter another chapter in Revelation, another sequence of events in Revelation, the opening of the seals, etc. This is their message that they were giving as truth from God. The Father's plan, God's dates, not ours. All of this is now scrapped, and you think you were saying that this is what separated you from everybody else in the world, that you knew this plan,
Yeah.
and they did not.
Yeah.
What's our link?
We're linking a video called Kingdom Arrived in 1878. Armageddon ends in 1914. God's dates.
This is a discussion of Edmund Gruss, who, by the way, grew up a Jehovah's Witness, but later became a Baptist minister. And Gruss has written some terrific books. If you want to see a sample of them, check our playlist, Basic Library for Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
And he's got at least 1 or 2 entries in there, I think. Apostles Denied.
Yeah. I think for me, reading the volumes of Russell were the start of me just losing all faith in the Watchtower, because I saw their foundation, their roots, and how they continue to be very assertive, and yet they scrap things and then start all over again with the same attitude. They never
repent of the attitude of we know and nobody else does, although the content can keep changing. It changes endlessly. See you next time.
Yeah.